Tim, how can I continue to work on my marriage if my wife is unwilling to change? Well, understand one thing. Real leaders don't lead with dominance. They lead with influence. See, my brother, you have influence over people in your life. If your wife is unwilling to change, most of the time it's because you haven't carved out that path. You haven't truly been a pioneer inside your family. It's time for you to do some real excavation on yourself, some real archaeology, to flag off an area, to begin to dig, to begin to sift through the dust and debris, to begin to study the antiquities, the relics, the artifacts from the past, and learn from them. And eventually put them on display for other people to learn from. You know what happens when you start evolving and you step into your own personal development journey? Other people become inspired because they see your happiness that stems from your success. When you walk around with inner peace, people can't help but respect that. And so many men, they start on this journey and their wife still has the confirmation bias of, well, you haven't changed, you haven't changed, you haven't changed. Why? Because their wives aren't really in a position where they're ready to trust them or be vulnerable again because they're afraid of being hurt. Their wives are completely hypervigilant. They're in a position where they're not really ready to make their changes just because their husband decides to make his. So why are you on the sideline waiting for your wife to invest in her process? Nobody on this planet, nothing in this world should ever stop you from being a better version of you, my brother. So if you're constantly in a position where you're expecting things in the external to come in alignment with your internal process, you're going to be waiting your whole life. Most of the time when you start transforming and transitioning into your new life, your wife is going to be inspired by that. Your wife is going to see you walking with the confidence. And what's going to happen? She's going to see that confidence and be inspired by that. She's going to feel like he's on a growth journey. And I want to be on that growth journey with him. Because what do? You bring in new communication skills. You bring in new coping methods. You bring in new conflict resolution strategies. You bring in a new mindset, a new heart set, a new skill set. You step into alignment with a better version of you. And inevitably what happens is your wife sees that. Dysfunction breeds dysfunction. In order to be in a dysfunctional relationship, you have to be dysfunctional. And when you're no longer dysfunctional, there's a brick wall there. You are teaching people how to have a relationship with you. People treat you the way that you teach them to treat you. And when people like what they see, they're more likely to listen to what you say. Are you living above reproach? Are you living above reproach? Or are you operating with a guilty conscience, shame and guilt, knowing that at the end of the day, that you still have areas in your life that you need to improve on? You don't need the green light from your wife. You don't need her validation in your process. This is about you. It's not about your marriage. It's not about anything else. This is about you. This isn't about the external. It's not about what you're going to achieve. It's not about the results that you want. This is about you. And most guys never want to make it about them. Talk to so many guys and they're like, well, yeah, you know what? I'm in a position where I can still solve this on my own because I've solved all these other problems. But the problem is that they haven't been able to. The guys that I speak to, the guys that I work with, are guys that solve massively difficult problems. But what happens when you're so used to solving every problem in your life and you're the go-to guy for everybody and you can't solve the biggest problem in your life and you have nowhere to go? So stop waiting for somebody else to make the changes before you do. Stop waiting for somebody else to give you the green light in your process before you actually take the initiative. Flip the switch, brother. It's your time.